right, guys, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the close. We're about 28 minutes until we get there. Thank you very much for joining us today on, I guess, a red Monday here ahead of the Christmas week. Will Santa end up coming? I don't know, but here we go with the close. Now, let's take a look at this red. So big closure, well, big red futures really is where the market actually happened, and it really rallied in some ways. So let's look at this 15-minute chart here just to get a bit of an idea. So what happened was we went red immediately in the futures. The futures actually were lower. So I think at one point they were about 50, 45, maybe even 20 on the SP 500 futures. And then they went up, opened, of course, went down a little bit, and now it's solidified some form of base, you would think. So we know that 4,500 is the key level. Let's have a look at the charts actually to bring in perspective where the key supports are. And unfortunately, we are kind of in the middle of nowhere land. So this 4,500, this is the key zone. Why? Weekly 20. There's no question. Weekly 20 becomes the key area. And today, because the weekly 20 moves up all the time, of course, you've gotten close to it. So 45.27, almost a touch. I mean, close enough to saying that that was a touch. We do not want it under there. So weekly 20 does not want to be closed below, especially 4,500 plus. If the weekly was underneath this level, you know what, guys, it's going to be bad. You can't really say that that's going to be a good thing or that's a good sign. That's really where bears get full control. You've got plenty of things going in the favor of the negativity. So here we would have basically a top, and a quick reversal. So a lot of the time when people look at these kind of reversals is they think about the speed at which they go in as well. This is what we call Eve Adam in terms of double bottoms or double tops. And we're getting close to that being a thing. Now, bears hold back because you haven't won yet. You haven't got through that 20 weekly moving average. And therefore, we still are optimistic on the markets and we're still positive in terms of just generalities of what we're seeing right now in the market. Let's have a look at what the chat says. Let's see what everybody says here. Everyone, I think Santa is lost. Yeah, guys, like the Santa rally, just the stat is actually between Christmas and technically the New Year. So just got to remember that. That's technically the stat. Betting on a Santa rally isn't necessarily worth it. We trade price action. If it's there and you get a seasonality with the price action, that's good. But everybody, all the rallies and all these types of things. Remember, Thanksgiving didn't work this year. It's maybe this one won't work either the same way that a lot of people think it is, which is, of course, the Santa rally, two of the better ones. Does that mean that next year you won't pay attention to these? The answer is no. You still will pay attention to them. You'll just look for the price action itself. You don't bet on the rally. You bet on the idea, or you make the decision on the idea that if you're seeing the right price action and it's the time of year, that you might get a further ramp. That's the way I like to look at it. It's not so much of anything like this. Marvin the Martian says, yeah, futures sold. Real market hasn't followed through so much. That's correct. Can you guys hear me or it's not working? Gary says he can't hear me. Trash market says juice. Wow. Fair enough. Santa got COVID. Yeah, that's right. So, all right. Well, many of you guys have got things to say. That's good. You can all hear me, yeah? Let's make sure here. Thomas Otto says, hi, hey guys, nice prices coming. I'm 95% in cash. Smiley face. Yeah, cool. All right. Sound is fine. Good. Very good. Very good. All right. So SPY here, 45.56 into the close. I would say close enough to touching the weekly 20. And that's why we got that rally off that zone. This is really all Wall Street would be looking at. It's such an important zone. We know that breaking underneath this begins the bears. Possibly we get a push down to the 50 exponential at that point. That's the most likely next conclusion. So let's look at the market in its entirety. Let's bring up the actual sectors and what they're doing. I'll bring up the 1 day here. Let me bring this on the screen for you guys. 1 second. Pretty important we understand what is actually moving. You'll notice the Dow is down 1.79 today. IWM down 1.54 is rallying compared to where it has been. We'll check that out. So these are all the sectors. So energy down 3.18, financials down 2.8, 2.86, XLB 2.82. So again, not across the board. All of a sudden, technology is only down 1.67. So it's not down as much as the others. Utilities, consumer staples, really the top. And IBB, surprisingly strong. So IBB is a sector that I spoke about in the private community yesterday, and I've talked a little bit about here. It's looking a lot better. IBB, by being the biotech, you'd be surprised how much better those stocks are doing. I mean, look today here, Beam. These are the ones with the strongest closeouts. So Beam, holding up the line. Edit, still moving off the support base. CRISPR, put in a resistance breakout. Now it's looking quite good. This is the type of thing that we want to be seeing here. There are some stocks that are just getting belted through lows, which is things like Square. Apple, obviously, I think it's got a double top. So this doesn't really surprise me that it's weakening here. Daily 20 has been reached. Some people will like that level. I'm not sure if I like Apple here. Do any of you guys like Apple at this price? I mean, I'm a big fan of Apple, but do you like Apple at this price? Kunal says, what the hell is IBB? Well, if you put it in, you'll notice that it's biotechnology. It's very much underperformed. All the underperforming sectors of 2021, they're starting to look tastier. So wait for weekly 20, says Laurie. Yeah, weekly 20 certainly would be better. Some people say great price for Apple. I think it's a great price. I think a great price is like 155. That's a good price. Good, not great, actually. Only good. Have a look at your fundamentals on this one. I think you'll find that this is a good price. This is probably a much better price, and maybe getting in the great price range. But look, realistically, this is not cheap. And while it has hit the daily 20, and that's interest for day traders, for an investor, I'm not sure if that's the level you want. It's probably not. And that's the main problem you've got in the market right now. There are a couple of these FANG stocks that are looking pretty high. Speaking of the FANG, let's have a look at the FANG in general. You can see the weakness here, but still relative strength. So what are we going to do with the FANG? Put in the trend line. That still looks okay. Let's just grab this trend line through. So you get a bit of an idea of how important this zone has been. I'm not even sure if it goes, no, it doesn't go all the way down. So there's our trend line for the FANG. What's been holding up recently? 1, 2, 3, 4. Will it be a fifth hold for this? No new peak. So we have an equal high. Again, no new peak. So you can see all these supports are coming in. We're very close to the super key support. I would guess that the S&P 500, if it's going to rally somewhere around here, the next 40 points, all the way down to 4,500, if you're looking at it and thinking, damn, I like these prices, it's so close. I mean, this is pretty much the prices that people are looking at. What have you got to worry about in the next couple of sessions? Well, we've got a nice little base here as we form this bottom. You can see that bottoming. It goes up. It's going to have problems with 4,610, 4,600 now. If it gets through 4,600, well, we're going to move much, much further up. You would think back to that 47-ish area. So this base is pretty important. Day traders will really enjoy Tuesday. I think Tuesday could be a great day to be looking at the market. Very good day indeed. And we're seeing Wall Street here buy into the close a little bit. So US 500 being purchased slightly, US 100 starting to look okay here. Look at the overall trade for the session. Where is it? Right on support. What's been happening? They've been buying that support. Bam. They have been purchasing it. So we know we're at the critical zone. Weekly 20, weekly 20, weekly 20. That's where it's at. Need Apple to fill the gap at 90? I don't think about that. I'm hoping Tesla price comes down to 840, 800. I would like to buy at that price range, says Lou Jr. Where is Tesla today? Sitting at 900 flat. So it's on support as well. So right on support. Previous resistance, 800 to 840. Yeah, that's possible. Trend line here, sitting at around currently at 840, but 900 certainly a zone of interest. Let's go to the 1 hour price chart. Wow, that's flat. See that? So flat in trade. that is not the kind of buying you, you expect to see when it hits the key level. I mean, I'm glad it hit 900 because it's probably the right zone for it to hit. But, geez, could you get any less excited about buying the zone, guys? So, again, US 100, support, US 500, support weekly. Okay, that's where it's at. If you go through the trend line, it's going to be there as well. I'm not sure if this goes through that many lines, but let's have a look. Yeah. Anyway, it goes through the last two, which is the most important thing. So just like any of these, if we're thinking about it, we had support, weekly 20, weekly 20, weekly 20, US 100, weekly 20, support, horizontal. IWM, if we go and have a look at that, finding buying pressure, very important. I mean, you know how much is at stake here, guys. Look at this. Look at this weekly. This weekly 50 is at stake. All of this market is probably going to show literally at the end of this week. If we close underneath these zones, you know the bears have got control. Weekly 20 S&P, weekly 20 US 100, weekly 50 IWM. Not good. So it's time to put up or shut up, really, for the markets at this point. Daily here looking a little bit better. You'll notice there's a daily slight bullish looking hammer that could be coming through. If we get that roll, that we get that movement through the top here, that would be fantastic. We get the movement through here. Bam. That's where the day traders will come in the previous session. So remember, while Monday looks terrible here, we are on support. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. It's same Mario, $2 Australian. Random one for you, DGL. Also, I like IPL today. Australia. I assume IPL, you're talking about Instatech Pivot. Ivan says, is there anyone else? Thank you very much for the donation. I'll do it in a second. Hi, Ivan says, is there anyone else who thinks a lot of down pressure is put on the market by news? Well, that's always the way it is. Fight inflation, maybe. Look, you can find multiple reasons. Sometimes we go through and we have a look at the news and we refresh it and we go, oh, okay, what's the excuse? Remember, there are two types of excuses. There are excuses partially in our control, and then there are black swan events. If it is not a black swan event, generally you want to be positive on the market. If it is a massive black swan event, well, you can be careful there. So what have we got? Some news here. We've got Moderna says booster doses appear to be protective versus Omicron. I mean, overall, that's probably a positive thing for the economy so that we don't have to lock down like they currently are, which is obviously the big problem. Then you've got here pandemic fears, Biden spending agenda will rattle markets, whatever. Again, partially in control. So I'm not really too concerned about that. I'm not sure if anyone else is. And you go through these things and you think, okay, so there's a lot of excuses being made here. The question then becomes, is it real? Are we seeing serious signs of degrading markets? Now, we are seeing serious signs on the Russell. The Russell often precurses what goes on in the other markets. So if we think about the weekly, when you go back to the pandemic and what happened is if you really look at this, look how much the Russell got flogged. The Russell got destroyed straight away. Like it just went bang. When the small caps go, they go. And this is usually the precursor of really negative kind of events, because you can see here, it lost like 27%. Here, it lost a huge amount of percent. It went from 169 all the way down under 96. Here we have a massive, almost could be called distribution. I mean, this is basically a Wyckoff distribution. Don't think I'm ignoring the bear signs here, guys. If this ends up going bearish, you guys know that's Wyckoff distribution. You've got basically a channel. You've got a false break to the upside. And if you close underneath, it's Wyckoff distribution. That is a huge deal. I mean, what is that? That is literal manipulation. That would then cause a pretty big fall, you would think. And at the same time as this would fall through, what would happen? You would get all sorts of things happening. SP 500 weekly 20 down. Can't ignore that. So SP would be down. The Nasdaq 20 would be down. The IWM would be Wyckoff distribution plus under 50 down. All of these triggers would suddenly be incredibly bearish. And that's sometimes what happens in the markets. It's this confirmation both ways. If you get a very specific thing just occurring and that one thing changes, all of a sudden, yes, it triggers off super events. But this is how the market's sneaky as well. Notice support resistance is a thing for a reason. Supply demand when you're looking at it in the markets. If something just slightly changes, it makes all the difference to your technical analysis and sets you in a mindset that, okay, cool, now we need to just chill back and really pay attention to this market that's probably going to start free flowing down. And that's how it is. It's like confirmation either way. Once you start to bring the stats together, I mean, I'll probably do it in today's recap video. I'll go through all of these things towards the negative side. Do you guys agree that this is the chart that actually, this and the S&P 500 are the two charts that I think really show the weakness here? What do you guys think? Kevin says, no falling IWM until I exit. Thank you very much, Jenny. Appreciate that. G says, the best Santa rally ever. Yeah, very good. Very, very good. Yes, well, that's right. Now let's go back and get that super chat, DGL. We'll check that out, see what other people think. Monica says she agrees. Let's have a look what other people say. Head and shoulders on weekly BTC. Mr. Keithy will look at that after the market closes. Got a lot of stocks to go through as well in just a section. VIX falling could be a single for a ripper. Well, yeah, I mean, the markets here are now sitting at 1.5, 1.5% down. They were a little bit worse. That's US 500, US 100. And that Wyckoff distribution is the real deal. I mean, that thing, if that goes through, wow. So DGL, I assume it's the Australian stock. Let's quickly do this. No, let's do the weekly. So you should always do weekly, monthly first. Get a bit of an idea where it's at. So this is a fairly new release onto the market. We don't have much data, which you guys know I don't like. Daily into 4 hour. When you don't have much data, just fundamentally trade it, guys, and use basic psychology of human nature. There's no point in TAing it because you don't have it. TA is the study of future or past kind of ideas or movements or statistics or trends with that stock or that index or whatever. And if you have no past, then what can you do? Quite low trade volume. You can see it's all spiky and everywhere. Just it's all about just price ranges. I mean, why does it stop at around $3? Because it's a price. Why does it come down close to $2? Because it's a price. And there's a lot of conjecture around 250, as you would notice. So yeah, I mean, at this stage, probably going back to 3. IPL, just quickly do that. You know, Instinct Pivot. Now this stock has been around for a long time. 319, certainly much better. Actually, like explosives and stuff, and really nice horizontal here at $3. It really likes $3, this stock. I've traded this many times over the last many years. Yep, looks much better. This is holding, and then it looks like it's probably maybe even closing out. Check the weekly. Yeah, nice little close in the weekly. Double resistance break. So these are 2 weak rejections, and then it looks like it's coming back up. All right, let's go back over to this market. So I think things are looking much better, and you can see the buying in here. Someone said the VIX was dropping. Yep, the VIX is certainly dropping. Look, the signs are showing the support is there. Thank you very much, Kevin. Thank you to the 700 people here as well. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. That's right, Gary. That's right. You got to cut through it. This news is in my opinion, FUD. What do you guys think, though? Let me know. Do you think the news is real? Do you think the news is just an excuse? There's so much bullishness that's in the market with huge amounts of, I guess, leverage right now coming to the end of the year. People may be trying to leverage to get their Christmas presents for everyone, that I feel like the market's taking full advantage of that. Here are the facts. We've hit supports. The VIX is coming down. We know that we're at critical levels, but at critical levels is where everyone's freaking out and the market turns. And look at this US 500 starting to rally here. 2 hour, start look at little rejections, even on the futures. Little weird buying, okay? There's some weird buying. There is buying here. US 100, some little wick purchases. US 30, very similar. IWM, we've already detailed the daily there, has a bullish hammer potential close on it. So there is purchasing across the board. All right, let's have a look at some other stuff. We'll go through gold, silver after the market closes. So we've already seen squares in free fall. I think it's not a touch at this point. We've talked about it many, many times. It just keeps failing to hold up. I think the market does not like the price they paid for Afterpay, and they are belting it. I called that over here with the rest of the community. We kind of all agreed that it was pretty poor. Let's see what everyone else says. Hot Potato says buy the dip. Tom, do you think blow off top is likely within the 6 to 12 months on what the market itself? I don't think blow off top. Blow off top requires an incredible move upwards. So we've had a bit more stagnation in the last 6 months of the trade year in comparison to what we saw in 2020. 2022 will be slower. It will be more sideways. Inflation and interest rates, or mostly interest rates, will be the discussion points. Yeah. Probably pulls back in Jan. Yeah, I think, look, 4,800 is still very open on the S&P 500. Just remember that. Tom has COVID. No, I don't have COVID. King Baboon says the market is over as we know it. Well, the market's definitely slower. Shelly says FUD. Hot Potato says FUD. Peloton, time to buy. I kind of want to look at Peloton. Have a look at Peloton here. Peloton. Wow, it's cheap. It's really low. I didn't even realize how low it gotten. Oh my goodness. No, that's in degradation. Like look at the price action here. It's just like lower peaks. It kind of looks like Bitcoin right now. We'll go through stay around because we're going to look at Bitcoin a little bit later and you'll see what we mean by degradation. Look, volume is higher. There is no signs of recovery on this stock. It's hideous right now. Hideous looking. Doesn't mean it won't turn around, but very unlikely from the current price action. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon just floating and holding as best it can. Yes, it's down, but it's holding as best it can. You can see there are purchase wicks around here, so hopefully that holds up. Enphase continues to fall, along with no doubt TAN. We'll scroll through. We'll do Barber in a second. Don't worry, we'll do Barber in a second. ARKG. So these are holding much better. Now, I think a few YouTubers are starting to pick this up, and I already think it, so it doesn't really change my opinion. But a few people are starting to pick up on the ARKG. Now, it could be because it's low, but in all seriousness, some of these hypers, plus the volume, look at the volume, is showing that we're getting base in the 2021. Remember, you want to be looking at sectors that are hated by other people. If you load up IBB, Biotech, does this sector look like it's starting to recover? The answer I would be going with is yes, it's looking better than it ever has been. Is it time for it? It's getting closer. Because remember, biotech is all about timing in a multi-year approach during cycles. It's all about timing because it's a very, very dangerous sector if you don't get it correct. CRM, really new low, nothing great there. I still like it long term, but it is what it is. Now, Barber was a question we got from, let me quickly scroll up. Where are we? Quickly get this. Durgesh, $2. Can we please take a look at Barber? Absolutely, ma'am. Barber continues to just be the same story. No recovery yet, unfortunately. We've had the low at 109. We're at 115. Looks like we could test 109. And unfortunately, you're looking then for it to come back up and break the 130 before you're going to be more comfortable that we've based. Because that would be a double bottom. It would breach some kind of moving average, probably that's on the way down as well. That's the type of thing you're looking for. If you go and have a look at the weekly 20. This is until it gets through the weekly 20, which is really far away, you won't say this is in full-on recovery mode. So you're really just kind of guessing or day trade. And I wouldn't necessarily day trade Barber. I don't see why you would do this. There are plenty of quality stocks to day trade that you won't get stuck in. But it is just continuing down here. What's up, Tony? Excuses as always. Do you mean in regards to the market and the excuses in the news? I would say so. Kramer has COVID, so I guess. Oh, okay, Horst. Does he really? Oh God, Paul Piton says Finken. Yes. I have a losing short on Square Jan 180 put. Boo-hoo. When you say you have a losing short, if you're shorting it on Square, wouldn't you be up? Greg says, I'd pick up Square as an investment on the 200. If everyone is expecting a rally, then it will come. Or you mean it won't come? Is that what you're saying? It won't come? Let's keep looking at this market, just to keep going back over it. See, more recovery coming in here into the close. 1.23, 1.24 down. It's not bad. All right. Some of the other stocks, like Take Two. Look at that. I put that in the private community yesterday. Look, that is good TA, guys, and it's holding up here in the markets. Now, does anyone know what that is? That is the inverse head and shoulder. Absolutely good TA. Fantastic. It's really, really, really nice. And look at what it snapped on the weekly. Look at the price action. Everything we talk about all the time. There are some very cool trades in the markets right now. And a lot of the cool trades are coming into the hypers. The hypers are starting to look much, much better. Now, that doesn't mean that I think net is cool here. Net still degrading. Crowd still degrading. Overpriced. PayPal, holding. Okay? Holding. We haven't seen the turnaround story yet for it. So it's still an accumulation base. Let's see if the volume continues to hold relatively well and whether it breaks through. Spot, another one that's just holding around support, currently weakening still. So you can see those series of lower peaks coming through. You want to really see that snap off and go higher. There are some other sectors that are doing quite well. Rio, Vail, BHP, one that we've brought up a few times. This is in the American market as well. Look at the base. Once hated, now actually pretty strong all of December. You know, you might have whinged about everything in December. There are stock markets and sectors that are actually doing much, much better. They were once hated, based correctly, patient, person wins, opportunity. You don't need to take that many trades to make good money. You just need to be, not always. You don't have to trade every day, guys. You really don't. Now, I've got some questions here from our community. I got Plug. They wanted me to go through this one, I believe. Let me just make sure it is Plug. So, private. Let's see if it was Plug that they wanted. Oh, Charge Point, sorry. Charge Point. Whoa. All right. Weekly on Charge Point. You can put some knives in the chats, guys, because that is a falling knife. What do we do here? We don't buy it. If you're investing and you're wanting to hold it and you're doing it based on fundamentals, then you can buy this zone. But if you are trading, you have to wait for the signal. And the signal is going to be some form of turnaround story. Lightning bolt, double bottom, inverse head and shoulders, Wyckoff accumulation, anything. Any kind of pattern like that, show us some signs of recovery around this area, because Charge Point might be on a great level of support, but that is a falling knife in the chat for sure. Tesla closed under 900, feels bad. Tesla, yeah. Bobby's not happy. It's $8.99.94. It's okay, man. $8.99.94. No worries. A lot of volume last 5 minutes of SPY. Yep, let's load it up. So we are closed now. We did get the rally into the end of the day to a degree. Let's have a look at the 5 minutes here. You are correct. It'll be lower than normal, the volume in some ways today, but still some pretty decent, probably through even compared to other times. And the volume did spike into the close. So we end up almost on the high of the trade, which is a good sign. 1 hour, again, the rally is there. 2 hour, the rally is there. what are we doing? We're basing it on the weekly 20. Okay, that's really all we're doing. We're just basically going back to the weekly 20 and we're saying, look, what are the stats that we currently see? Weekly 20 has been very, very good. If the weekly 20 fails, if the IWM fails, it's all going to fail miserably and be terrible. Is the news that bad right now? I would say no. There's a lot of negativity news always. So nothing new. And therefore, hopefully we do get that buy. What's the support on Nvidia? Planning to buy? Yeah, Nvidia is a popular one. We'll check that out. So Nvidia, theoretically, because now I don't class that as a close below, by the way, because it just gapped. Theoretically, though, this is right on support. Next is 230. I would look at semiconductors, SMH, just to make sure the ETF's holding. See, it gaps underneath and then buys up. If that was a red day, which it isn't, I would say it's already closed underneath and we're looking at 275. But I've learned better than that. Think about the Tesla analysis we did earlier in the year, where we got underneath the level, kept gapping below, and then buying up through the day. This first day we got the red, it was the signal. People started selling the next day and it went bang straight down. So yes, I would still say semiconductors are holding, though incredibly marginally. This is the semiconductor index. Almost you could buy Nvidia based on this because Nvidia is a huge part of it now. I'll catch that charge knife at $15, says Michael H. Fair enough, but just remember, it's more of an investment. You've got to be prepared to hold at that point. That's what you've got to really be doing. So markets are still recovering here. US 500, US 100 finding the most amount of buying pressure. Probably the best looking base here. Go to 15-minute. Tests twice. It's going up. You can see it's at the resistance, maybe accumulation at this point. So we're trying to accumulate all the small time frames and see some rally through the futures. I would guess, and I'm going to ask the community, what do you think is going to happen in the futures today, guys? Give it to me. What's happening in the futures? You guys have seen this before. SMH looks like distribution. Could certainly be BS, SB. And that's why we are saying it's, at that point, we are right on the support. Gap up, green. Futures will be up, bounce up. Yep, they'll be most likely green. Flat pre-market, I would say they go green. Yeah, all right, Mohammed, we'll have a look at it. Can you check out seed, nice inverse head and shoulders? Sure, we'll have a look. All right, let's keep going through some other things. We want to look at gold. So gold, where are we? Daily. Follow through action from the negative Friday close. Not exactly positive towards gold, is it? Just floating around, still stuck in all the moving averages on the closure here. So yeah, again, what are we? Pretty much neutral into gold at this stage. We need that 1810 to close. We had a good day trade. If anyone got on the day trade last week, recognize 1793. You're patient, or you got in the bullish hammer after the FOMC statement. Well done. And then 1810 we knew was to take profit, and then we just need to wait for either this to close above or we're in no trade land with gold. So that's how gold looks at this stage. Silver, very similar, hit the price 2260, sold straight off it. So it's in no touch land at this stage. Looking for a 2260 closure out. US oil, wild day for it. Big close though. Look at it come back up here. 52 minutes till the close. And this thing has gone all the way under the support and then fully reversed so far. So we've almost fully reversed back up into the 69.42. I'm sure that would have taken out a lot of people's stops. And again, it's why we've been trapped within these areas. We have that lightning bolt that goes into the 73. It's come back down $69. Right around here, we were looking for another turnaround so we could trade into 73. We haven't got it yet. But if this does end up closing, let's say above 69.40, and you got a wick like this, if I was trading the next day, go in. Actually, that daily might be the best place. Yeah. So I would go into it. I would look for a movement above this price, and then again trade at $73.02. Movement up here will show you momentum. A lot of your trades should be based on momentum. And if the momentum goes through the previous session high or low, and you're seeing the right signals on that previous session high or low, which would be this huge reversal, it could be like that silver gold the other day where it went through, took out heaps of people's stops, came back, and then rallied for the next 2 days. So that would be what you're looking for on US oil and Brent. Platinum, very similar, just forming a base. Still nothing really great here, but platinum is holding slightly better than the other metals today. Again, VIX has come down, so volatility jumping out of the market. We're seeing that US 500, US 100 currently rallying. Are there any other stocks that we should be looking at? Someone said seen before. Let's check that out. Not sure if that's the one. I don't think so. Tesla 900. Turnaround Tuesday. That's right. They call it Turnaround Tuesday. Big rejection, wick on oil, nice stop hunt. That's right. What is a stop hunt? Basically, a stop hunt is where if you have, let's say, an order in the system and you have a stop loss, a take profit, and an entry point, and most people do when they're trading. A stop hunt is effectively where price will go through a known area. So let's say you have like, I don't know, let's just say a lot of people are buying here. A stop hunt will be generally a movement through the price, goes underneath the previous lows or underneath the previous points of support. It then fully reverses that and usually will come straight back up and create something like a bullish hammer or pin bar. And what that's done is it's gone and it's not only grabbed liquidity, it's also taken out everybody's orders here. And often you'll notice after these types of stop hunts, if you recognize them correctly, you'll get huge follow through. And a good example of that would be something like a silver or a gold the other day, where silver went underneath the previous lows. So see here and see here, there'd be a lot of people with stop losses underneath this zone. We had this support here for a reason. I haven't changed it. So this is a classic stop hunt and then the follow through that occurs, similar to gold. All right, let's have a look at Bitcoin. The elephant in the room, the Bitcoin. So the story still sucks for Bitcoin, but could it get better in the next 24 hours? Absolutely. We have lower peak, lower peak, lower peak, lower peak. So we currently are just weakening, 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 weakening. What do we need to see? This hold up, get a damn closure up. I would like to have it through this downward trend and through the 48,000 at least. 48,000 is now the first trigger point for buyers to come back in. 52,000 remains the key zone. After 52K, very positive. So Bitcoin is probably the best market to see this in, but it is in every one of them. You'll notice Ethereum also weakening through the last peaks. So here are the weakenings. A little bit better on the troughs. So it's found a lot more buying pressure recently. Again, looking a lot better. The other coins not moving as much. Bitcoin back to 47K. The two I've got here, Matic, still down pretty hard, and KSM obviously just floating around the 268. So it is improving, but Bitcoin needs to do something. 48K plus. I mean, this is just a slowly weakening market at this stage, which is not a good sign. So we need to put that low in, 48K plus, get through those previous kind of peak zones, and then 52 becomes the open. Of course, 52 plus would be a massive thing for it. BTC needs to go to its 200 weekly MA. So if you went there, 200 weekly MA is down here, 20K on this chart anyway. I'm not sure if I've got enough data for it. That would be pretty brutal. Maybe it will get there. But you'll notice even the weekly long leg doji, see where last week closed? Right around the low. So indecisive still. No real decision made. It's hanging on, just like the rest of the market's hanging on. The rest of the market is still rallying here. Now only down 0.92%. Nice. BTC to potentially 30K if the weekly head and shoulders forms and hits. So let's have a look at this weekly head and shoulders that you guys are talking about. All right, that's a pretty big if, but I like the way you're playing chess with the market still. So you got your left, your head, and then the idea would be it stops around here, which is pretty much where it is. Then breaches below. You have a neckline like around here, and then of course, huge down. That's certainly what you should be doing. You should always be thinking about the potential of a pattern, the potential of price action. What could it be doing? In many ways, the market is like that. What's going to happen next? Can you spot the chess moves before it happens? I wouldn't bet on that being in your psychology, though. So I wouldn't say, okay, let's trade this because I think it's head and shoulders. We can't do that. We have to remain positive while we're still in an overall price action uptrend on the bigger time frames. And betting against Bitcoin is relatively difficult. Obviously, it's more of a small time frame kind of thing. You see key supports being broken on the big time frames, you short it on the small time frames. The problem with the short is it's incredibly quick. So you need to be in with the correct stop losses, and often it can be incredibly quick. BTC won't go below 45K, says Doopy. I tend to think so. Rob C says, I'm glad I bought the dip today. Well, good luck, Rob. Let's hope it works. BTC shorts, negative 15% today. Well, that's another component of what you're looking at. Don't look at the percentage, though. It's irrelevant. Don't worry about the percentage. Completely irrelevant there on the right-hand side. Percentage is irrelevant. Just look at it if it's gone up or down, because if percentage was relevant, then sometimes you get these like 1,000% increases and stuff. Yeah. Less about the percentage, more about just what it is in perspective of where it's been in the past on this one. Cool. Well, look, we're seeing some okay action. I know the markets look horrid right now, but there are some bright lights in some pretty dark kind of markets here. And some things have come back into buy zones, like the Netflix is back after its giant breach where it went to $700. You're now getting a fairly decent discount on it. And I don't think the market is overpriced across the board like a lot of people have been talking about. It's overpriced in certain stocks. I actually think Apple's one of the most overpriced stocks now, all of a sudden, just from a PE standpoint. It wasn't all year, and then it has become so just recently when people flowed into that. Whereas hyper stocks are starting to get, as we said, many times cheaper overall. A lot of people talking about AMC and GME at the moment. I still think they're more just like little rallies. GME just held its last support. And if it closes below that, could go all the way back down to $40. MU jumped after earnings. Let's have a quick look. Micron Technology. Yeah, up 6.39% after earnings. It's been a relatively good recovery play. Also holding relatively well, straight into resistance. 87.27. Funny how straight after earnings and stuff, it always goes into the resistance or the support. Nice little channel here. ADA put up an incredibly strong bottom. Let's have a look at ADA here. Crypto coin. It's putting in a bottom. Wouldn't say incredibly strong yet. Could be. What you're saying by incredibly strong is that the floor is solid. But why is the floor solid? It's effectively the same thing as Bitcoin. Declining peaks. Look at the declining. So we've got lower peak, lower peak, lower peak, lower peak, supports across the board. Breach, 130. Could be smiley face. Because all of a sudden you've said, okay, this trend here is very recognizable. There are buyers. We're bullish and we close above. That's going to be much better. I might add, I don't know what this Matic. Why is Matic even here? I feel like adding my ADA back. What do you think about LTC, BTC? Let's take a look. This is how you should be thinking about markets often. The ratios between each one. I'm not a huge fan of the old LTC at all, so I don't know what I really feel about it. I guess you're saying it's cheap. Is LTC a dead coin? I just don't have any faith in LTC. It's like a project that I feel doesn't do anything anymore. It's not solving any problem really that's needed. It doesn't really have a base like something like a Polkadot or a Cardano or an Ethereum has, or a Solana. Yeah, I don't know. You guys like LTC? I mean, ratios are the way you should be thinking about markets in crypto, but this ratio, think about the project as well. And the fact that the main original guy kind of bailed years ago. He ruined the price on LTC, really. I'll have the cam on tomorrow. It's all good. Been holding this one for a while, debating switching it out. Fair enough. Tesla is insanely overpriced. All automakers combined and then some. That is true. But remember, it's technology as well. It's not really the cars. That's what people are trying to go with. It's like AI. It's full on AI. That's what they're going with. That's correct. And when you're trading, you don't really care about intrinsic value. You buy anything based on the price action was good. That's correct. Your idea, I think you've got to really put this in perspective, guys. Right now, we're seeing potential investment, okay? Potential on the market. When you're talking about trades, all you're doing is you're looking for solid setups. If you have a setup like this and it breaches and it's on a stock that you think is overpriced, what are you really doing? Let's say there's no earnings coming up. You put your stop losses in, wherever they might be, underneath either of these swings, depending on the situation. You put your entry criteria in, which will be a closure above, and you put your take profit criteria, which might be, let's say we had a nice support over here, over here. What's your worst case scenario? You get hit on the stop loss, or you get your take profit, or you're in it for a little while you're trading it. The fact is that you've always got the stop loss. You've already presented your worst case scenario pretty much on the market for this particular trade. So because of that, why do you care what the value is in 1 month, 1 year, or anything? That's what a trader does. You go in, you trade it, you get out, you go, okay, I don't care about it. Now, you do need to think about what's the risk of the stock gapping and below, e.g. like a squeeze stock like the penny stock trades that a lot of people have been making. The risks there are huge gaps. But when you see great bases and you're trading high quality stocks, even if you think it's overpriced, still high quality stocks with huge amounts of volume, it reduces the amount of risk of a huge gap. So you get that closure and you move it up. Now, if you're trading and you want to also hold the stock, well, that's a totally different case scenario. Tom, thoughts on Labu Biotech? I think it has a strong double bottom. Let's have a look at Labu. But Labu is just a 3x times IBB, basically. I like all of the biotech right now. I think it's improving heavily. I'll discuss it in today's video, I guess. But yeah, I mean, biotech really looks so much better. And Labu is an insane version of biotech. Be prepared for psycho moves. This is not for the faint-hearted, guys. This is not for the faint-hearted. Look where it went to. 184. It's a 3 times leveraged fund in bio. It is insane. In one day, you can have big moves on this, similar to like a giant penny stock. Now, if you don't mind having a 11% switch on you in a day, or even a 20% switch on you in a day, then sure. But yes, the signs are recovering in this one. Not everyone knows how to actually stay with the stop. That means they've got a psychology weakness. If they can't put a stop in, if they're not trading with the stop and they start moving the stop, you failed at trading. It's pretty much as simple as that. Or you don't know where to analyze your stop should be. If you are buying stuff without stops and hoping it goes up and therefore trading, you're really kind of like investing and buying dips at certain levels, which is fine. It's up to you. But yeah, if you move your stop, you are really doing yourself a disservice. It's a big problem, and I've done it before. When I first started, I'm a culprit. I've done it. It is a flaw in your trading psychology that must be worked out. Other people, if you agree with that, let us know. So this is a very stressful, very crazy market opportunity. if you were looking at this, 20% in one day, 20% down in one day too. ND says, not everyone who listens to you, Tom, knows how to use stop losses in a disciplined way. It's misleading. Well, what do you want me to do, ND? I mean, if you do the course that we have, then you'll learn how to use stop losses correctly. I mean, that's a one opportunity. You want me to say don't use a stop loss and then go trade penny stocks? There's nothing you can do, bro. And he says, shouldn't you at least try to trade stocks that have going somewhere? Well, it's fine. You go do that. Like, that's absolutely what you can do. You go and look at Apple's blue chip stocks, trade quality. Don't trade penny crap. I've told people this plenty of times. If you're holding penny crap, it will be a problem. I can trade necessarily any object. Other people don't have to. And I'm always massive fan of trading blue chip. Always. Even during the AMC GME stuff, I didn't really like it. I go with the quality. Quality is better. It's also got higher volume in it, which means it trades technically. So yes, I would suggest staying away from any crap. You don't need to. You can make great percentages in quality stuff. So very, very good option for a lot of people. All right, guys. Well, I think we'll call it there. Look, we're seeing recovery here in the markets. I'm glad that we're seeing this live. We've obviously done what I believe is some pretty good TA here today, finding that low, cutting through the crap, realizing that the Monday is a joke. This red day is really coming down to good levels. And as long as these levels hold, which they were for the day, and you can see it again, you go back to the 1 hour charts, you go back to the 2 hour charts, you see that base forming, the buyers coming in, and even since aftermarket, the buyers coming further in, it makes sense that this was potentially a bit of FUD here into this low. Now, it doesn't mean that if we break underneath this level that the bears don't have full control. This is absolutely the X factor day. We are on X factor level. We get underneath, we close the weekly, bad. I mean, then we go to the weekly 50. That's what I'm thinking. But this is how the market is. It's all about critical levels and critical zones, and it attacks our weakest senses in the psychology. So if you're freaking out today, you lose money. I'm sorry about that. I'm like, it's not good that that's happened to you, but at the same time, you've got to realize, like, what was your plan? Was your plan like a little bit short-sighted? Did you put in perspective things like the weekly 20? Make sure you were prepared for that touch, etc. Tesla is a blue chip, if you want to say ND, because it is in the large companies. It's a huge market cap. You don't have to believe in it, and you don't have to like its price action or anything like that. But the reality is it's a huge stock in the market. And if it's a huge stock in the market and you're playing with, again, stop losses, you're trading with stop losses, take profits, that is not the same kind of risk that a penny stock is. So I'll disagree with you there, ND. Sorry, I will. You have to draw a line somewhere. If it's a huge market cap and it trades with large volatility but still huge volume, it's less likely to hit you with a 20% hit. Exactly. J Meter says right now it's a blue chip. Tesla is $1 trillion market cap. It has the trade volume behind it. It has big investors. It has big holders, and it has the right. It's a trader's stock, actually. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like saying in Australia, FMG is not blue chip because the thing's crazy and it goes up and down 10% in a week or a day. It still is. BTC on 18-hour uptrend. What is an 18-hour uptrend? You mean like an 18-hour stock trade range? I don't know what what that 18-hour time frame is. All right, Mountain, we'll do this for you. Blue chip just means the large cap. So you're really looking at kind of that 10 billion plus. Mountain Fortress, check out Workhorse chart and tell us how bad it is. But I like to detail blue chip more as something that's been around for a while in the markets, e.g. 10 years. And if it's been around for around that period of time, that it sees a lot of trade as well, sees a lot of volume. Let's have a look at Workhorse. We haven't done this one in a long time. I thought it was dead. So what is this? What about Workhorse? Workhorse chart and tell us how bad it is. Well, firstly, I thought the company was dead. Secondly, it's a piece of crap. Yes, it is. It sucks. It's bad. And I'm sorry for anyone that liked this stock at any point in time. It's another one of those horrors of 2021, 2020 into 2021. Terrible thing and a great example of what we're literally talking about here, which is something that is not on the market for a long period of time in the same way. It's got sporadic movements. And again, it's a social trade. And social trades, these are particularly dangerous, especially in this case. Is there anything I like about this chart? Not really. I don't see any. It looks just like a slowly degrading with people pulling money out of it as they lose all hope. I'm sure it'll have some resurfacing, but yeah, at this point, just nothing for us. Is Hermes RMS a good short? I bought this stock once. Actually, last year. Oh, man. Wish I held it. Wow. It went up a lot. Damn. $7.87. Now 15.43. Oh, well. That's what it is. Okay, let's have a look over here. I'm not sure if it's a short. I don't know if I bet against these kind of... It's super rip-off, though, isn't it? 159 billion on Birkin bags. It's not really a short necessarily. I mean, you can see here the weekly 20 is held relatively okay. So I think that's a fairly big key. Doesn't look super strong. I think what you're looking at is just basically go weekly rejection, weekly rejection. If you were in it over here, it's tough, it's tough, it's tough. Shorts are not easy in the market. You are correct, I guess. Because what have you had so far? You've had one rejection weekly, which is basically like a shooting star. Then you see this one here, which is clearly some kind of massive stop hunt towards the bull side. I don't know if I'd short it, but you are correct. It's probably at the short area, the role reversal. Fashion is fickle both ways. Yeah, I don't disagree. It is a ripoff. This stock is incredibly expensive for what it does. And fashion does switch, as we all know. And I'm seeing it start to happen in watches. I'm a pretty big watch fan, and people are getting sick of it. I mean, it's still very popular, but if anyone follows watches, I'll tell you this. So there's something called a Tiffany Patek. Let me bring it up for you. I'll show you. It is ridiculous. So here's the Tiffany Patek. It doesn't even look very good. I think it's ugly anyway. So there's the Tiffany Patek. All right. And you think, oh, well, this is just a watch. Yeah. So it's sold for some absolutely ridiculous amount of money, like probably to Patek themselves. And then they're trying to sell the other ones for like $3 million each. Okay. So this stupid watch. Now, this is where you can tell that there's a bubble and the market must be getting close to stabilizing and going down in the next 6 to 12 months. This particular watch, which retails for about $5,000 to $6,000 US, I think it went to something like some ridiculous amount, like maybe like 60K or something like that after the other one sold for millions of dollars. It's not that rare. It's ridiculous. And that's the sign of the classic. Wow, they're even more expensive. Yeah, so they're all over the place. You can see here. So 28,000, it's a $5,000 watch. 40,000 over here. This person wants 181,000, 100, and just ridiculous prices. Just because it's that blue color that people want right now. Gary says, dude, stop buying watches. Breitling and Rolex prices went to the moon, and Breitling's quite a lot cheaper. Yeah, I know you do, Rich. Well, even Rich, you would agree that there is some overpriced action going on. When you start seeing wild speculation on colors, you get close to that back-end market. It's basically the winner's curse. And what they call the winner's curse in any market is always the same. The winner's curse, we've had now 2 years of incredible growth in that market, and you're now getting into pure speculation on mass-produced items. Opinion on Elliott wave theory. It's good for investment, tough for trading. Gives you a lot of confidence potentially in waves. Pretty subjective, but you can be good at it. If you get really good at it, most people are poor at it. I mean, really poor at it. You have to be an incredible expert. It takes years and years and years. It is not as easy as people think. Easy to put together an idea, absolute crap in interpretation. We've done gold and silver, so we just basically did that already. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I'll make a video a little bit later. Absolute rip-off central for those watches. Do not go and buy the Tiffany blue colors. Ridiculous. We did see recovery in the markets. That's a good sign. Hopefully the markets continue to go green here. We've got a video coming that I'll dump in a little bit later. Huge amounts of buying support across almost any of the markets here. And IWM also held up into the close. Little bullish hammer here, just holding on. And I mean just holding on in what is an overall Wyckoff distribution. So it must hold these lows to avoid becoming kind of like a Bitcoin 2.0 in the markets. We don't want that. Bitcoin doing better. Just to summarize, the recovery here does look like it could be in play. 8-hour time frame is what we're looking at. 48,000 closure plus at least to show us that some base has been formed. Series of lower peaks, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get a new higher peak to buck that trend. Same thing with ADA. It's happening across all of the crypto space right now. Jessica says, hey, Tom, why is the ASX not going down? ASX has different stocks in it. Different market makeup of stocks. So a huge portion of it is based on that. So we have some miners that are in things like iron ore. Currently, iron ore mining is not so bad. It's obviously on the improve. We've got a lot of utilities. The utilities are on the improve due to the market conditions. We've got healthcare. Healthcare is not doing that poorly in America. So again, that doesn't negatively benefit us. And also the banks are not doing too badly because there's an expectation that we'll raise rates and that will improve their profits. So it's all about understanding the index that you trade. And this particular index is filled with old boomer companies. And because we have a lot of old boomer companies, they're actually doing pretty well. mRNA got raided. What do you mean? I assume you mean raided as in the stock went down. Yeah, this stock is not cheap. It's very sporadic. I wouldn't call that I mean, someone would probably disagree with me and say it's a trader's stock because it's got so much massive move, but I wouldn't call that an incredibly technical stock. It's like news, bam, news, bam, news, bad, FUD. Who knows? I mean, that is what I would call statistically unlikely to be able to pick it on daily or above timeframes. It's just very crazy. And someone wants Nike. Yeah, we've got asked that a lot. Let's have a look at Nike. Earnings, wasn't it? 2.67. 161. So earnings mustn't be as bad as the market was possibly expecting. Consumer discretionary, very weak in December. So that's pretty much why it's coming back down. Nothing much to say about Nike. All right. See everybody. I will catch you in the video. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll get the cam on for some Christmas spirit later on the week. And I hope the markets improve for each and every one of you, no matter which way you're going. I hope it works out for you. Bye for now. Catch up.